Hello students, this is Miss Medina, and in this video we're going to talk about functions and what are functions. And we're going to focus on what are relations and functions, how do we represent relations or functions, and those are the main ones. Then we'll leave the other three for videos, okay? A relation is going to be a set of ordered pairs. And in case you forgot, an ordered pair is x and y, right? And we know this as 3, 1, and we plot these points, 3, 1, somewhere here, okay? So any groups of points, any set of points, 5, 7, -3, 4, those sets of ordered pairs we considered our relation. In mathematics, we can show relationships in tables, in mappings, in graphs, okay? And I'm pretty sure you've seen these before because we already did this in class. And so here we go. A function is a special relationship. So it's a special relation. How do I say this? A special set of points. I should call them points, I should call them ordered pairs. So I'm going to write this down and basically all functions are relations category, right? My notebook moved. So all functions fall under the relation category, but not all relations are functions. So I'm going to draw a picture for you. So here's our umbrella. Right? This umbrella, oh, maybe I should erase this. This is the relations. Underneath here, we have the functions. Okay, so functions are a type of relations. Not all relations are going to be functions, right? Because you have others over here that don't fall under functions. So functions need to meet a special requirement. And that requirement is right here, is that, where's the highlighter? That each element from the domain, that means your x coordinates, is paired with one and only one element from the range, that means from the y coordinates. Say that again. The x coordinates, oops, not a good color code, with one and only one. So the x coordinate has one and only one y coordinate. A function only has, for every single x, there is only one y. So let's write it down. For every x value, there is only one y value. Okay, and not the other way around. We're only talking about x from the x's point of view. X can only have one y. Okay, here we go. Oh, the 4 words that you need to make sure that you associate together, okay? The input variable is called the independent variable. And I remember this because they both start with the word in, right? Input right here. I don't want to write over it. Input, independent. They both start with the word in. The other 2 words that go here would be x values and domain. All right, so those four words, input, independent, x values, and domain, are kind of used interchangeably, though they all kind of mean their own thing. And then the other one is, where's my orange highlighter? Right here. The output variable is known as the dependent variable, okay? And this is going to be our y values. And from now on, we're going to call it range. They'll technically codomain, but range is what we use in high school, so we're going to go with it. Okay, so those are the four things that we need to make sure that we keep together and that we remember. Here we go. Let me zoom in on this. I have to use the mouse. My computer is not touchscreen. You know, ancient technology. All right, what is the domain of this relationship? As I was saying before, domain is your x values. I have the wrong pen. Domain is the x values, okay? And the x values is the input. And so it's going to be this. And since they're individual points, we're going to talk about them as in squiggly, squiggly brackets. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 are the four elements of this domain, of this set. What is the range? The range is going to be the y values, which is going to be the output. And in this case, our output is going to be 4, 6, 8, and 10. All right? And so the question is this a function? Well, let's check. Right here, input 1 has only one output, 4. Number 2, x equals 2, is mapped to output 6, only 1. 3, though, is mapped to 8, and it is also mapped to 10. So then the question is it a function? No. Why? Because x equals 3, or input 3, is mapped to y equals 8 and y equals 10. So that's not allowed. Every x can only have one mapping, and this one has two mappings, so ergo, no, it's not a function. All right, let's try this again. What is the domain of the relation? Remember, domain is your input, your x values. So then when it's in mapping form, it's, you know, a little bit easier to see who's who. Using squiggly brackets, we know it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And go. And what is the range? The range is the output. And in this case, we only have two elements in the output, and that is fine. The elements are 5 and 7. And so now the question is it a function? Well, let's go ahead and check. So let's see. Okay. See, input 1 has only one mapping to 5. Input 2 has only one mapping to 5. Input 3 has only one mapping to 7. And input 4 has only one mapping to 7. So every single one of the inputs has only one mapping. So then yes, it is a function. Why? Because all inputs have only one mapping. All right, what is the, let's try it again. Now this one is in ordered pairs. And ordered pairs is the same thing as a table, as a mapping. You just have to remember that the domain is your x values. And also that your x values is the first number. So let's just get that out of the way, right? This is the x values, and this is the y values. right? This is your input, and this is the output. All right, the domain is going to be in curly brackets, and remember, we don't repeat the values, so if they repeat, we can't write them twice. -1, 2, 4, and -2. And as far as I know, we don't have to write them in order, so you can just collect the elements and write them down. Domain, sorry, that was the domain. So now we're going to do the range. The range is your outputs, your Y values. And see, color-coded, it looks kind of nice. So what did we notice about the outputs? One of them repeats, right? 5, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But when you write the set, you're not going to write the 5 twice. So we're only going to write the 5 once. And we have a -2. And because the last one is also a 5, we already have the 5. We don't have to write it again. So then that would be the set, how we write the set for the range. Now the question was, is this a function? Well, let's check, okay? And let's see, so we have -1 and it's mapped to 4. We have 2 and it's mapped to 5. So far only one mapping. 4 is mapped to -2. Let me move my notebook. And -2 is mapped to 5. So you'll notice that every single input has only one mapping. So yes, it is a function. All inputs have only one mapping. Oh, that doesn't look like one. One mapping. There we go. All right, that's that same question. All right, this one is more in table form, and it tells you that if this is X right here, then all of these are your X values. If this is Y right here, then all of these are your Y values. So let's go ahead and play. Here we go. What is the domain? Well, as long as you don't repeat them, you can just go ahead and write your set notation. That would be -3, 6, 1, -8, and 0. Right? None of them repeat. So that's a domain, and they can be written in any order. So somebody could have written them as 0, -8, 1, 6, -3. Clear? So when you're looking at this in multiple choice order, don't think that they have to be in a particular order. Just pick the correct one. Range is going to be 5, -2, 3, -2 repeat. So we're not going to write that twice, clear? And then 0. All right, so that's the set for the range. And now the question, is it a function? Well, let's look. Every input has one mapping, see? So then yes, all inputs have only one mapping. All right, let's do the next example. Oh, this one is not students' favorite one because sometimes you guys struggle with your coordinate plane, but this is something that we're going to have to overcome. What is the domain? The domain is your X values. So for every single point, you want to get the X value. So in class, I showed you a quick technique on how to do this to minimize confusion. So we just label the points. Just make sure you don't miss a point. So we have A. Hold on. All right, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, and J. And in class, we talked about how those are not points. These are the arrows, okay? Wait a minute, if this is an arrow, then that's not a point. I'm sorry. So we're just going to have to get rid of A, okay? Stop it. There we go. Yeah, these are the arrows. Oops. Just messing up all over the place, aren't I? These are the arrows, the arrow tips on the X and Y axis. I messed up. There is no way. Alrighty. And now we're going to write the ordered pairs. So we have B, C, D, E, F. I guess we'll need another one. G, H, I, and then J. All right, so we're going to read the ordered pairs. So starting from the origin. Oh, would you look at that? G is at the origin. So that one's going to be 0, 0. All right, let's go. B is -3, -4, 1. C is -3, 4. D is 0, 4. E is 1, 2. F is -1, 0. H is 2, 0. I is -3, -2. And if I make a mistake, please let me know, okay? And J is 0, -2. All right. And so this is what you're looking for. You're looking for your X values. And you're looking for your Y values. There, I'm almost done with my highlighter, okay? All right, so the domain is going to be -4, -3, 0, 1, -1. 0 is already there, so we don't have to write it twice. 2, -3 is already there. And then 0 again, which is already there. So here we go. So it's just those. And the range is going to be the orange ones. All right, here we go. It's going to be 1, 4. 4 repeats, so we don't write it twice. 2, 0, 0, 0, -2, and -2. So that's it. So now the question is it a function? Well, let's find out who's mapped to who. So let's check. Let's grab one nice color that'll stand out. All right, -4 is mapped to 1. Okay. -3 is mapped to 4. Perfect. 1 mapping so far. 0 is mapped to 4. That's fine. 0 only has 1 mapping. 1 is mapped to 2. All right. -1 is mapped to 0. Okay. 0 is mapped to 0. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. All right, so here's a problem right here. Because 0 was already mapped to 4, and now it's also mapped to 0. So you see how 0 has 2 mappings? That's not allowed. So ergo, this is not a function. This is just a relation, not a function. And when they ask you why, you're going to say because there is an input that has multiple mappings. There is an input with multiple mappings. All right, I'm going to have to move the screen so I can write the word mappings. With multiple mappings. Clear? Now we know what that input is 0. In fact, I think there's another one with multiple mappings, but ultimately that's the reason why it's not a function. All right, are there any questions? Let me see what else the notes have in store for us. All right, we already answered those over there. Okay. And that's what I have for you guys for functions.